The response of Brazilian cashew nut supply chain to natural disasters, a practice-based view. Overview. When natural disasters happen, companies try to keep their businesses going by putting in place the right set of organizational practices. Based on the practice-based view of strategic management, the goal of this paper is to find intra and inter-organizational supply chain practices that help key companies in Brazil's cashew nut supply chain respond to natural disasters. Brazil, three qualitative case studies were done with the help of semi-structured interviews and secondary data. The data were analyzed using qualitative content analysis with the help of the in vivo software and a framework for analysis that shows how resources and practices affect performance in the context of a natural disaster. The results show that companies take different paths in response to natural disasters depending on the resources and methods they use. While, while, while one company's performance was bad because of low productivity and competitive inertia, two companies kept and even improved their performance by working with other organizations. Finding shows that for companies to respond to natural disasters, they need to change their strategies to make them more sustainable and come up with new ways of doing things like making sure food is safe, producing organic food, and being socially responsible. Introduction. Climate change affects global food production and food producers in emerging and developing economies. Economies must adjust. Northern Brazil, which produces 99.4% of the Brazilian cashew nuts, has undergone climate extremes for generations. But in recent years, drought have threatened lives, food security, and food supply networks. Drought have hurt numerous cash and subsistence crops, including cashews. In 2017, Brazil exported around 1 billion, more than $1 billion in cashews. Although the cashew plant is a drought-tolerant crop, chronic water scarcity can limit its productivity. Brazil experienced such scarcity in 2015. This has led Brazilian agribusinesses that process and sell cashew nuts on national and international markets to create measures to mitigate the drought's impact on their supply chain. To prevent disruptions in the supply chain in the Brazilian cashew supply chain, the mitigation and preparedness phases require uttermost attention. Facing climate extremes in northern Brazil, managers of focused enterprises, cashew nut processors, can create intra and inter-organizational supply chain methods to ensure supply chain sustainability and stable product supply into consumer markets. Triple bottom line sustainability can be applied to the Brazilian cashew business (TBL). TBL approaches assume that economic sustainability assessed by financial and operational indicators on a firm or supply chain level is insufficient for companies contributing to sustainable development. This study applies practice-based view and supply chain practice view to identify supply chain practices that help the industry mitigate drought-inflicted supply chain disruptions and other negative effects on the TBN, that is, triple bottom line. Now come to supply chain practices. Flows, resources, and the idea of practices has been an important part of supply chain management and its extension to sustainable supply chain management. Natural disasters can bring death, poverty, infrastructure damage, and unemployment. Poor infrastructure, poor infrastructure, lack of planning, and unpreparedness increase natural disasters in emerging and developing economies. In developing economies, a wide number of industries may be affected by disasters. Water security affects the minimal availability of water resources and the ability to establish social and ecological resilience in agricultural settings. Northern Brazil's repeated slow onset disasters, that is, aridity and droughts, have hampered the cashew nut sector. The cashew supply chain's organizational setting to mitigate the impact of droughts, mitigation phase, and be prepared for when a drought happens, that is, preparedness phase. Companies may implement appropriate practices across their supply chains, leading to performance enhancements such as strengthening resilience. Brazil's northern area produces most cashews. Sierra produces 36% of Brazil's cashews. This region's cashew production has a large social and economic influence. It's considered a cultural heritage. Since the 1970s, when Brazil began economically using the cashew tree, cashew nuts have been a source of income and a symbol of the region. The semi-arid cashew tree was chosen to stimulate development in the region. In the last 6 years, rainfall has been less than projected, causing a slow onset natural disaster. The Brazilian Agriculture Research Corporation intends to boost cashew production. Embrapa Embrapa has concentrated on tropical agribusiness in Sierra during the 1990s to improve cashew output. They took interviews from three different companies. The Embrapa interviewees are from research and development manager, role of participant, manager of the Brazilian Research Center of the cashew plantation, and developed solution for the cashew waste with its group, responsible for research on watering on the cashew plantation. First company is responsible for ensuring the products are under specification. Manager responsible for integrating the relation with suppliers and engaging them in the supply chain. Company 2 is also responsible for ensuring all the certifications that are under specification. Manager responsible for integrating the relation with suppliers and engaging them in the supply chain. Company 3 also responsible for ensuring all certifications were under specification. Manager responsible to negotiate with and integrate suppliers in the supply chain. Case 1. Since 1992, first company has processed cashews according to its strategic strategy. It has spent the last 20 years promoting constructive social change. The 600% firm is medium sized. In 2017, the company gained organic certification indicating that the drought time allowed it to adopt more sustainable practices such as organic farming. The companies have several ongoing social responsibility projects and have received related awards. It also features high, level, high levels of environmental efficiency. The company is FSSC 22000 certified, that is Food Security System certification. To ensure its activities throughout this drought period, it has imported cashew nuts from Africa, mainly Ivory Coast, in conjunction with other local enterprises. It also maintains tight relationships with Brazilian suppliers to achieve the organic label. This shows that this company has implemented numerous measures to lessen the drought's impact and improve its economic, social, and environmental performance. Case 2. Company 2 is one of the Sierra's largest exporters, with 95% of their products exchanged or exported. The company has kept up its production of organic cashew nuts. This is mostly because the company has its own farms. Sustainability is the part of the company's strategy, and it has environmental programs to try to make less of an impact on the environment in different ways, like with solid waste and greenhouse gases. The company uses local development and social practices at the four farms it owns to improve the quality of life for both its employees and the local community. The company does regular audits of their farms to make sure they meet the standards for organic production and to help their suppliers become more environmentally friendly. Because of the drought, the company has changed some of its activities in order to keep going well. Case 3. 1968 family-owned company 3 was created. The company started producing organic cashew nuts in 1992 and was a market pioneer. Several causes, particularly the current national calamity, have limited the company's production capacity over time. The company topped Sierra's overall production for years. The company closed in 2015. The corporation had social responsibility and environmental efforts. It started importing cashew nuts from Africa to meet clients' demand. Like other enterprises, the company kept connected to local suppliers and its own farms during the drought. Contingency factors. First is technological resources. Companies from other countries came here, took our technology from Embrapa, and they have been over the years replacing the giant cashew tree with the precocious cashew tree. For example, some of them were replacing gradually not to have a year with nothing, no cashew nuts, because it is necessary to be able to grow to fruition. And today they have 100% precocious cashew. Their planted area is half of ours, and today they have higher productivity. Second, lack of public financial assistance. The government here, they turned their backs on cashew nuts. There was a time that had much incentives in the time of Subini, a local institution. It was at the time, 40 years ago, that we began to produce cashews. We had incentives. Third is problems with raw material security. It's been a long time, at, at, at least 6 years, that we do not read a pound of cashews from there, from their own farm. It's 5 or 6 years that we do not harvest because they steal everything. Fourth and the last is regulations. Brazil has a great food law, but Africa, for example, India, Vietnam, these third world countries, they do not have much of those quality standards, these legal requirements. Into organizational practices. First, import. Beginning in 2011, the harvest in Brazil began to decline and the price of raw materials began to increase. Therefore, the output of the industries here in Sierra was to import cashew nuts. Export. When you work with export products, you have some requirements. Quality management. When we received a load that had a very large incident of foreign material, it takes a look for the vehicle, the name of the driver, and the region. Food safety. We have the FSSC 22000 certification, which is Food Quality and Safety certification. That certification involves ISO 22000, which is related to a food safety management system involving the food defense part. Organic production. In relation to organic cashew nuts, we had to visit several producers. We made the certification of these personnel. Social responsibility. Today we have a project called Actress Tomorrow. We work with the people from the surrounding area and the focus is environmental education because here they have the Maranguabino River. The people have a culture of throwing everything in the river. Therefore, this work was done with the community to prevent this, so it is working well. Relationship with Technological Institute. We have a young cashew tree planting project. It was developed together with Embrapa, the largest project that exists, at least the largest project in Brazil related to cashew trees is there. It started with 500 HA, but it has more than that already. Therefore, because there is an area that has control, it has research, it has younger cashew trees, and its innovation and harvest there is good. Relationship with technological institute. We have a young cashew tree planting project. It was developed together with Embrapa, the largest project that exists, at least the largest project in Brazil related to cashew trees is there. It started with 500 HA, but it has more than that already. Therefore, because there is an area that has control, it has research, it has younger cashew trees, it has innovation, and the harvest there is good. Long-term relationship with suppliers. Now, this practice and the separating part of the payment happens to suppliers who have been with us for 18 to 20 years. Long-term relationship with consumers. For some consumers with a specific demand, there is this: they want a guarantee of origin, so they inspect annually, send a team who want to see if the process was being done as it should be done. Therefore, there is a lot of it. We did it for care for and for P out the Akura, Akuka, which has its own cashew nuts brand. Intrapersonal, intra-organizational practices. Supplier selection. Supplier signs a declaration that he does not use a pesticide. He does not use any type of pesticide. We have a statement that it completes certifying that he does not use a child label, all this before the first purchase. Therefore, our declaration of for the raw material is basically this: the commitment to supply, to the non-use of child labor, to acknowledge of our company's code of ethics, and to not and to the non-use of pesticides because it is part of food safety. Quality management. The second layer is that all materials, cashew nuts that enter our company undergo a system sieving and exhaustion. You will see. Then this system of sieving and exhaustion will take away many impurities, many strained materials. Operation management. We carried out good manufacturing practices program. We implemented good certification practices. Here in the company, we train all employees explaining what is good, what is quality, what are the types of contamination that you can have in food, what happens if you do not wash your hands. Anyway, then we implemented good manufacturing practices. Supplier evaluation. First quality and then argo toxic issue. Third, the burning issue. Food safety. We implemented FSSC 22000 and another ISO that we call ISO TS 22000.2. Therefore, the FSSC it is also a food safety standard, but it came to cover everything sort of a bit of legislation and a bit of quality standards. Social responsibility. We have a partnership with SCSI, a public institute, which I consider one of our main contributions. We introduced the opportunity for people to go back to school. Very interesting. They study after 15 years, 20 years, or even more. Organic production. We are ready. We are not yet certified. We are only missing the certifier stamp so that we can start the organic activity, but we are ready. Performance. Our study reveals two pathways. One firm closed due to poor performance, low productivity. Two companies enhanced production by adopting intra and inter-organizational procedures such as food safety, certification, or supplier review. As our focus was on the drought period, Brazil lost its international ranking to Vietnam and Nigeria before the drought. Case 3's buying manager says there was no activity to renew cashew trees for a long period and now we are having a hard time. This shows that new habits can support positive performances. Case 3 quality manager said, a few years ago, Company X and our company were always first and second. Who sold, exported, and produced more was always a competition. Company X, we are done. This shows competitive inertia and poor performance. Positive performance relates to sustainability. Companies made decisions to sustain profits and operations. This shows the economic performance which was linked to importing raw resources from Africa in conjunction with other enterprises. This method was established to improve relational performance across organizations. Now come to conclusion. Applying practice-based view to supply chain networks reveals how corporations respond to natural disasters in terms of sustainability. To maintain company success, new techniques are needed. Natural disasters can affect new habits and performances. Our findings show that the context influences resources and assets which contingency factors we use to encourage new activities. When rainfall is less than projected, raw materials are scarce, scarce and new decisions must have must be made such as importing cashew nuts from Africa with other Brazilian enterprises. Companies must reorganize because of unfavorable performance, that is competitive inertia, complete closures, high cost. This paper's results show that disaster management and humanitarian operations (HO) procedures need more attention. As we advise exploiting resources and adopting methods across enterprises to improve performance, coordination between players like Embrapa and the government may affect the development of mitigation and preparedness plans, not just catastrophe responses. Public practice-based view and supply chain practice view are useful for analyzing company and supply chain activities. Article shows that the supply chain practice view that focuses on supply chain wide collaboration is a strong tool for predicting an effective supply chain response to natural disasters, such as droughts in emerging country contexts. By using the practice-based view to understand how firms and sectors may become more sustainable, we increase dialogues about practices and highlight a stronger way to improve supply chain sustainability research. Thank you for listening my presentation.